So this is a little session on rapport building. We should be together for around 15 minutes or so, depending on how much you all want to chat. But fingers crossed, we'll have you out of the door, back to your days within 20 minutes. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jackie Clifford. My business is Clarity Learning and Development. We've met in the virtual space. Some of us have had conversations. I think the only person I've met in the real world who's here today is Emma. So when I look over here, I'm looking at the screen with all of your beautiful faces on. When I look over here, I'm looking at the camera. So there's that piece as well going on. So welcome and thank you for being here. By the end of this session, what I want you to be able to do is to explain key elements of rapport building to others. So it's a very brief introduction to rapport building that would form part of a wider program, which is all about how we have effective conversations within the workplace. Okay, so we had that definition of rapport, and thank you to those of you who completed the pre-work. Hopefully you received that, so give me a thumbs up if you received my email this morning. Yeah, lovely. Jill may not have done because I wasn't sure that you're going to be here, so I apologise for that, but hopefully your colleagues will be able to share with you their nuggets of wisdom when you get into your breakout rooms. So this is one definition of rapport, this idea of understanding someone, having an ability to communicate with them. I'm sure we've all got many other definitions, but this is the one that we're going to use this morning. So that's our definition for this morning. And here is what you said. So these are some of the things that you talked about in terms of your reflections on that definition. Listening came up really strongly, being able to talk the other person's language, common ground, shared experiences. And we're going to use this as the basis for an activity that we are going to enter into very, very shortly. So I'm going to be putting you into a breakout room. You're going to be in that breakout room for 5 minutes. There are now 7, 8 of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of you. That's very exciting. So that means that actually I'm probably going to put you into 4 breakout rooms. You're going to be given a character, so a specific type of character. I'd like you to talk to your partner for 5 minutes about how you would explain those different elements of rapport building to your specific type of character. And then when we come back together, one of you is going to have a minute to explain rapport to the rest of us as if we were that character. So I'm just going to ask you, does anybody have any questions about that? Give me a little wave if you've got any questions and I will unmute you and we'll answer your question. Any questions? Well, that's very exciting. You're very compliant. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to show you the characters that you are going to be thinking about. So one pair, you're going to be thinking about somebody explaining rapport to somebody who has never heard the word rapport before. Second pair, you're going to be thinking about somebody who always asks, why is this thing important? And third pair, you're going to be talking to somebody who asks, how do I do this? How do I do this rapport building thing? Fourth pair, you can choose whichever one of those 3 things you want, but please don't spend your 5 minutes choosing the third thing. So can I invite you to either just take a picture of that screen or write down those 3 people, those 3 characters. So someone who's never heard the word rapport, someone who always asks, why is this thing called rapport important? And somebody who always asks, how do I do this thing called rapport? Everybody had the chance to either write that down or take a picture. Give me a thumbs up if that's okay. Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. I got 2 thumbs up from Emma. Eva, are you okay? Yeah, perfect, lovely, thank you very much. All right, so now we're going to do that little bit where I'm going to put you into some breakout rooms. Mervyn, are you okay? I see you taking a picture there. Happy? Excellent, thank you very much indeed. So please, when you get into your breakout room, if you haven't met your colleague, then please introduce yourself to them and then launch into your 5-minute conversation. So Jill, could I see the previous slide again? Of course you can. Yeah, sorry, I forgot that you hadn't seen the pre-work. There you go, that's the previous slide. I see Jill taking a picture. Perfect, okie dokie. So I'm going to move that forward, she says confidently. It's trouble with working over 2 screens. There you go. Okay, so we've got our 3 characters. When you're in your room, in fact, I'm going to put you into your rooms manually and I will tell you which letter you are. And group D, as I say, you can choose whichever character that you want. So in breakout room 1, we're going to have Angela and Eva. So you're going to go to breakout room 1 and you're going to be thinking about someone who has never heard the word rapport. Hopefully that is okay for you. In breakout room 2, we're going to have Emma and Jill. So you're going to go to breakout room 2, you're going to be group B, you're going to be thinking about someone who always asks why this is important. In breakout room 3, we are going to have Margaret and Mervyn. So your breakout room 3, someone who always asks, how do I do this? So the final breakout room, that's going to be Marina and Sandrine. So you're going to get to choose whichever character you want to explain rapport to. Am I making any sense? It's quite early in the morning. Lovely. Marina, I'm going to unmute you. What would you like to ask? Oh, you're still muted. There you go.
In breakout room D, do both have the same character or different?
Yeah, no, same character. So you need to agree which character you want to work with. But as I say, don't spend your 5 minutes agreeing that.
Will do.
Brilliant. Okie dokie. Lovely. Now, for some reason, I have lost all my controls. There we go. Right. I'm about to open your breakout rooms. You'll have 5 minutes. You will get a 60-second warning. I might broadcast some little messages to you to remind you what you're doing, but you'll have a 60-second warning. You've got 5 minutes starting. Ready, steady, go. So you will need to join the rooms that you've been allocated to. That's brilliant, and I love the fact that this topic has generated so much discussion. Yeah. Let's have that as the next session. So let's build in a session which is about building cross-cultural rapport. So hold those thoughts and really look forward to that next session. Bearing in mind that I did tell you that I would do my best to keep you in this space for just 20 minutes, and we are at 21. I'm going to invite each pair to share their thoughts about how you would explain rapport to a specific character. And I am going to set the timer, so you are only going to get 1 minute per pair. Okay. So pair A, I can't remember who was pair A, but you were thinking about somebody who's never heard the word rapport previously. Who would like to share their thinking about how they're going to explain rapport to that person? Please unmute yourself. Thank you, Angela.
I know Eva's internet is struggling at the moment, so I'll do it on behalf of us, but I'm sure she'll jump in on chat if I've missed anything. So we had a bit of a chat about kind of what it means and all the rest, but that isn't what you actually asked us to do. So we talked about, oh, it's this and it's that and it's the other. But how do you explain it to somebody who has never heard it before, because it's a term we all use, And we sort of concluded it down to it's actually a feeling, and it's very difficult to describe a feeling, because when you've got rapport, it's something you feel, and it's that feeling of being at complete ease and comfort with somebody else and in their environment. So whether that's in work life or whether that's in your personal life, you know whether you've got that feeling of ease and comfort, and that you trust the other person either to share or to be open or to have discussion or whatever the situation is. But it's a feeling very much.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. And you still had 13 seconds to spare. So thank you. Thank you, Angela. We're not going to take any questions or comments. We'll take questions and comments in the chat, and perhaps we can come back together for a further discussion. Thank you. Group B, who was Group B and who would like to speak for Group B? Jill, thank you very much indeed. You have 1 minute starting now to tell us how you would explain rapport to somebody who's asking why it is important.
No hesitation, no repetition. Okay.
Indeed.
So we started our discussion on this with the view that we would need to understand why they asked that question. Is it that they didn't understand it, as in the case with Group B's, Group A's people? Is it that they just hadn't experienced it, or they've been on the receiving end of a poor experience? So where they'd expected to find rapport, perhaps in their personal, professional lives, maybe as going back as far as school, had a teacher not connected with them, had other people they were around not connected with them, and to tease out what it was that made that such a barrier. And we felt, I think, after our chat, was that coaching would be likely to be a good way forward if there was quite a resistant barrier about it. So can you tell me about a time when you did experience a positive rapport, and what did that feel like? How would you feel then? Or how did you feel then if you'd had a poor experience of it? How did the two compare on a scale of 1 to 10? Which would you rather see in your future discussions and meetings with folk? And really trying to tease out the benefit and their buy-in to it.
Fantastic. I think you heard the little timer going off there, Jill. So
nope, I did not.
Did you not? Well, that came to a beautiful end as the timer was going off. So lovely, and love the way that you brought in coaching there. So thank you very much indeed. So Group C, in terms of how do I do this, that feels like a really meaty question to answer within 1 minute. Who would like to speak for Group C? Mervyn, thank you very much indeed. Your 1 minute starts now.
Oh, well, hold on. I've got 30 seconds and then Margaret's going to jump in.
Fantastic.
So we decided to do the ladder of communication, and I can't remember who to attribute it to, but it goes like this. The bottom rung of the ladder is ritual cliche. Hello, how are you? We don't really mean it. We don't want to know how you are. It's just something we always do. The next level is facts and information. So I'll know a lot about you. I'll know the name of your spouse, your kids, where you live and where you go to work. The next stage is thoughts and ideas, where we can share parts of us and our ideas and our aspirations and that sort of thing. And then the next level up is feelings, to share our feelings with people. We then start to trust other people with our feelings, that they're going to keep those feelings safe. And then the final rung of the ladder is rapport. And usually I go into what peak rapport is, which is 2 lovers at the end of a bar, but we haven't got time. Margaret.
Brilliant. Margaret's got about 10 seconds.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Margaret, I'm going to unmute you. There you go.
In addition to the verbal, there's also the non-verbal. So explaining and demonstrating, mirroring and matching, pacing and leading. For example, if someone's in a meeting, how we can build rapport through the non-verbal.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And thank you for being so concise and focused. So our final pair, you chose, I'm still only going to give you a minute to explain to us, tell us who the character is that you'd be explaining rapport to and what you'd like to share with us. Who would like to do that?
You go, Marina.
Thank you, Marina.
Sandrine and me, we decided to go for an A, to explain rapport to somebody who's never heard the word before. And yes, we had some initial discussions about being a French word anyway, and how it's also already been differently interpreted in the English language. It is the way how we relate, I would say, as the way how I discovered it in my coaching career. And it's a potpourri, I would say, of different activities which actually lead up to that feeling which the other group has just described. So I'd look out for listening skills as well as building connections via breathing, via pacing, via language, eye contact, body language, even the room you're creating, physical space, how distant or close you are, and then all the aspects of cross-cultural.
Beautiful, thank you. With 1 second to spare, amazing timing.
Unless Sandrine has something to add.
No, I mean, one of the words that I use also is empathy. I think that for me, that's an important one.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, I think that illustrates that we already know a lot about rapport, but our objective for today was all about thinking the key elements of rapport. So we brought out those in that conversation, which is absolutely fabulous. What I'd like to think about, I'm just going to share my screen again with you, because there's something in all of this that we're sitting here in this virtual world trying to build rapport. And what I'd be really interested for you to go away from today thinking is, how might we use what we know to build rapport in this virtual world? So there's a little bit of homework for you. Go away, ponder on how we might use what we already know to build rapport in this space. So that is bringing us to, I was going to do a little activity with you where you were going to get to write some of those things, but being mindful of the time, I'll send this to you. You can add your things into our little swim lanes here, and then I will circulate it to everybody afterwards. So I'll send that to you with the follow-up email. And that is the end of our session today. I'm just going to stop sharing again, and would like to ask you if anybody has got any thoughts, comments or questions before I say a big thank you, and see you all in a different space and a different time.